Hi there. We looked today in class at box and whisker plots, and so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate box and whisker plots on number 9 of your worksheet. And then we also looked at percentile rank, and so I'm going to demonstrate percentile rank with number 11 on your worksheet. Okay. So number 9 was the box and whisker plot. To create a box and whisker plot, you need 5 values: a minimum, a maximum, and then 3 quartiles: Quartile One, Quartile Two, which is also known as the median, and Quartile Three. Okay, and so we're going to start here with Kathy's data to create our first box and whisker plot. And the 3 quartiles that I just listed off, all of them have to do with different medians, right? The overall median and the medians of 2 parts of our data. And for a median, remembering back to what we talked about in 6.2, a median, it has to be in numerical order, our data. Our data has to be in numerical order to be able to figure out what our median is. And so that's going to be my first step with Kathy's work here. And I'm going to go ahead and do it up here in my empty space here. But I need to start with putting this in numerical order. So I have 3, 4, 5. Right? And then I have 7, 8, 8. And I have 9, 11, 12. And then just making sure I haven't lost anything, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Okay, so the 5 data values. Number 1, we need our minimum. Okay, the minimum is the smallest number in our group. In this case, that's that 3. Okay? We need our maximum. The maximum is the largest number. In this case, that's that 12. Okay? And then we have 3 quartiles that we need: Quartile 1, Quartile 2, which is also known as the median, and Quartile 3. Okay. So Quartile 2 is usually the one that's the best to start with, which I'll explain why in a bit here, but we're going to go ahead and start with that one. This is the overall median of our whole data. So if we work our way in, not 3 or 12, not 11 or 4, not 9 or 5, not 7 or 8, we have 8. Here, this 8 is our median, so that's my Quartile 2. Okay. Okay, the reason you want to start with that one is because if that's your median, we aren't going to count it as we create our other 2 quartiles, our Quartile 1 and our Quartile 3. Okay. Quartile 1, okay, is the median of the first half of our data, the first 50% of our data, which is this list, 3, 4, 5, 7, and so we're going to find the median of this part of our data. Right, so it's not 3 or 7, which leaves us with 4 and 5, right, which you can't have 2 numbers be the median, and so we find what's in the middle of both of them. You do that either because you can see it, okay, or because you add those 2 numbers together and divide them by 2, and whatever you get there is the median, right? 4 plus 5 divided by 2 is 4.5. Quartile 3 is the median of the second half of our data, right? Which is this 8, 9, 11, 12, and so working our way in, it's not 8 or 12, which means it's 9, 11. You can't have 2 numbers, so again, we're going to find what's in between. You either see what's halfway between 9 and 11, or you add them together and divide by 2. 9 plus 11 divided by 2 is 10. Okay, and so these are our 5 data values here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and set up our number line. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Which we might not need all of those, but I'm going to have them all set up just in case. I actually know for this box and whisker plot, this particular one, that I really only need the values from 3 to 12, right? 3 is my smallest and 12 is my largest, but I know I have another box and whisker plot to come up, and so I made it a little bit bigger, and because I had the room. So, taking a look here, we have our 5 data values, and so we're going to go ahead and put little marks at 3, 12, 4.5, 8, and 10. Okay. And then to construct a box and whisker plot, okay, you make a box with these first 3 I sign out with the first three. With the middle three, the quartiles, and the difference between the two sides of my box is what's called my interquartile range. In this case, my interquartile range would be 10 minus 4.5, or 5.5 would be my interquartile range. Okay? And once you create your box, then you have two little whiskers extending out from there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it one more time with Samuel's here. Okay, so Samuel's data, again, I'm going to go ahead and put it in numerical order. I'm going to use this space here for Samuel's data. Okay, so we have 2, 5, and 6. We have 7, 7. And then 9, 9, 10, 10. And then again, double check you haven't lost any. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So, 5 data points. Minimum is the smallest, which is 2. Maximum is the largest, which is 10. And then you have quartile 1, quartile 2, or the median, and quartile 3. So, quartile 2 first, because it's usually the easiest. We have not 2 or 10, not 5 or 10, not 6 or 9, not 7 or 9. It's that 7 right there. And since I used it as my quartile 2, I now can no longer include it in my quartile 1 or quartile 3. Okay, quartile 1 then, the median of the first half. We have not 2 or 7. It's either 5 or 6. Okay, well, it's between 5 and 6, I should say, right? It's not 2 or 7, which means we have two numbers. You can't have two numbers, so it's what's halfway between 5 and 6. You either see it or you add them together and divide by 2. 5 plus 6 divided by 2 is 5.5. And quartile 3, not 10 or 9, which means halfway between our two remaining ones, 10 and 9. Okay, you either see it or you add them and divide by 2. 9 plus 10 divided by 2 is 9.5. And so now we have 5 new data values for a new box and whisker plot. So we have a tick mark at 2, 1 at 10, 1 at 5.5, 1 at 7, and 1 at 9.5. Okay, a box with the 3 middle, and again, interquartile range would be 9.5 minus 5.5, or 4. 4 would be our interquartile range. And then we have our whiskers. Okay. Those are box and whisker plots. Okay, the other thing we looked at was percentile rank, and so with number 11 here we have of 200 Math 1 Unit 5 test scores, 32 are less than or equal to 60. What is the percentile rank of a score of 60? Okay, so percentile rank is the number less than or equal to, or something equivalent to less than, right? Shorter than, smaller than, something along those lines, right? Something synonymous with less than. Okay, so the number less than or equal to divided by the total number. Okay, which in this particular problem we have 200 total Math 1 Unit 5 test scores, and then 32 are less than or equal to. Okay, and because these are already indicating the less than or equal to, I'm going to go ahead and just use that 32. All right, so we have 32 less than or equal to over my 200 total. And if you put that into your calculator then, or reduce it, get it over 100, and that would be a pretty easy decimal to calculate. Okay, but if you did 32 divided by 200, you get 0.16, or 16 hundredths, which that as a percent, if we move that decimal 2 times, is 16%. Okay, the reason earlier I specified about this 32, I said because this is already indicated as less than or equal, I just use it. Okay, the reason I specified that is because there are going to be some problems, like number 12, where it says 15 way more than. If they tell you this is more than, you can't use 15 in your fraction here, because the fraction has to be less than or equal to. Okay, which means you would need to calculate, well, if 15 are more than, and I have 25 total, what's left over? How much would be less than? So in this particular case, if I have 15 that are more than and 25 total, I would have 10 that are less than, right? That you get that 10 from doing 25 minus 15. Okay? And so you'd be putting 10 into the top of your fraction instead of 15, because 10 is what's less than or equal to. Okay? And that's percentile rank.